Okay, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to line the bag. Do a really simple lining if you want to add a little bit of extra finesse to your bag. So hopefully your bag is at this point right now, so it's all sewn together and you've done your bottom corners. And we're going to take our fabric, which you should have in your hamper as well. You should have a little fat roll of fabric. So we're going to take our piece of fabric, and you should have more than enough for your bag. You should have a nice big piece like this, and you may want to iron it first, give it a little bit of a press depending on the pattern you have. If you have a pattern like this, which is kind of just in one direction facing this way, you may want to cut out two pieces of the fabric so they face the right way around. If you have a generic pattern with no identifiable up or down, then you can just fold it in half, and that will save you some sewing. But we're going to do it the long way because this pattern is just one direction. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to iron my fabric, give that a little bit of a iron to work out the creases, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've given my fabric a little bit of an iron. You can probably do a neater job than I have, but just flatten it down a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bag and I'm going to place it in one corner, and I'm going to cut around the edge of the bag as if it was a template. So we're going to use our bag as a template. Now with the lining, I'm not going to do these extra bits here because I'm going to leave a little bit of space to add the handles, but also it will just make it more complicated having lining going up on these bits. So we're literally just going to do a lining that's going to go across here and curve round, so just this shape here. So I'm going to use my bag as a template, and I'm going to cut around the edge like that up to there, right to the top, and then I'm going to cut across there. And I'm going to do that twice for this fabric because, like I said, mine is in one direction, so I want to make sure that my pattern faces the right way. So I'm going to do that twice until I've got two pieces of fabric. So okay, so I'm going to do that and then I shall come back. Okay, so I've got two pieces of a fabric which should be roughly the same size, and I've just curved the bottoms there, and as you can see, these are about, I've cut these about 1 centimetre around the bag, so I've left just about 1 centimetre fingers width just around the edge of the bag at the top as well. So this will be our seam allowance and will enable us to fold over the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the two pieces of fabric together, and I'm going to put the right sides together and make sure they are roughly the same. They don't have to be perfect, but if you want to trim any excess down so they are identical pieces of fabric, then you can do so. Then what we're going to do is we are literally going to sew down the edge from the top here. I'm going to, not right from the top though, we're going to leave about 1.5 centimetres at the top, about 1 centimetre from the top, and we're going to start sewing from there. I'm going to go all the way round the corner, along the bottom, around this corner and up to the other side, and stopping about 1 centimetre before the top. This will enable us to fold down the top so we have a nice finish there. So you can either hand sew that or you can do it on a sewing machine. So I'm going to do it on the sewing machine because it will be quicker, and then I shall come back. Okay, so for the power of time lapse, I have now sewn from one side to the other, and I just left about 1 centimetre gap from the top, and I just did a little double sew there where you go backwards and forwards to secure it, and then I just worked a straight stitch all the way around the edge, across the bottom and up to the other side, and again stopping about 1 centimetre from the top. Okay, and then doing a little back stitch to secure. Like I said, you can hand sew that if you want to, it's just quicker on a sewing machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're not going to turn it inside out, we're going to leave it like this, and we're going to get our bag and we're going to place this into the inside of our bag. Hopefully it should fit perfectly, and if it doesn't fit perfectly, you can just adjust it. You can mark where you need to adjust it and then just cut some more fabric off and then sew further along, but hopefully it should fit nicely. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to work on the seam at the top. So if we open it up, you can start seeing it coming together, but we need to neaten off this top. And you can see we've got quite a big gap before the bag starts. So if I can just tuck this in properly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold this edge over twice, and we're going to pin that to our bag. So you can fold it over once if you want to, or you can fold it over twice. It's entirely up to you. Depends how much fabric you've got to work with. So maybe I'll just fold it over once would be enough, and we're going to pin that to the edge of our bag. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to fold it over by about 1 centimetre until I'm happy. You can just measure it so it's just below the lip of your top stitches, because you want to have those clear for when we work the bag handles. So I'm going to fold it over by about 1 centimetre and then I'm going to pin it into place. Okay, and I'm going to do that all the way around. Okay, so I've pinned that all the way around the edge, and I've just kept it underneath the stitches and kept it straight across these hexagons that stick out, and I've pinned it all the way around nicely in place. And what we're going to do now is we're going to sew this into place. Now you could, oh, my pins is coming out there, you could use a sewing machine and just sew around, but you're going to end up with a line that's going to be going around the outside of your bag, so we kind of want to avoid that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some thread. You could use cotton yarn as well if you want to. I'm going to get some thread and sew this onto a sewing needle. So I'm probably going to double this thread up. Tie a knot at the end. Okay, let's do a double knot. And then take our needle and thread, and you can either start in the corner if you want to. I'm just going to start here for the sake of this video because it's clearer to see. But what we're going to do is, first of all, we are going to put our needle in between our crochet and the fabric, and we're going to just come in to our fabric near the top, but it's in the seam. So can you see that? It's in the seam, so it's not appearing on this side, and it's going to be hidden in this piece of fabric that's turned over. So I'm going to bring that through, and then I'm going to collect a little bit of the crochet on the bag, but I'm going to collect just enough that my needle and thread doesn't appear on the other side, and then I'm going to go pull that through as well. Okay, and I'm basically going to repeat that all the way around. So now I'm going to see where I went in before. Bring this up to the camera a bit better. See where I went in before, and I'm just going to go next to that, go into the fabric, but just into the fabric that's folded over so it doesn't appear on the other side, and then bring that through. And then I'm going to go into the crochet again, but again making sure that doesn't appear on the other side as well. I'm going to continue that all the way around back to the beginning. So it might take a little bit of a while, but you should end up with no seam this side and no seam that side, which will be really nice. So again, fine, I'll take this pin out because it keeps stabbing me. So again, I'm just going to fold it over and see where I came in last time. So it's just along from that last stitch there. Grab a little bit of the fabric, again making sure, see I've gone through there, so I want to just release that and just catch the fabric at the back, so there's no, it's not going through the fabric at the front. And then just pull that, and then again we're going to grab a little bit of the crochet bag. Just try and keep it straight as you go along, because you don't want to end up doing a wavy line. So I'm going to do this all the way around back to the beginning, and then I shall show you the finished lining. Simple as that. Okay, so I've just repeated that all the way round, and I'm back at the beginning, and I'm just going to just do one more stitch into the bag and up through the fabric, and then to finish off I'm going to cut that, and because I've doubled it up, what I can do is take both ends and separate them, and then I'm just going to tie them in a little knot a couple of times. A little pull, do that again, and one more for luck. And I'm just going to trim down the excess, and there we go. So just spread that out, and what we've been left with, as you can see, there's no seam at all across the outside of your bag in your crochet either side, and there's also no seam on the inside, so you get a really lovely join, and with no stitches seen at all, so it doesn't matter how messy your stitches is. Now as you can see here, these tail ends are showing, so most of your tail ends you can hide underneath your lining if you do a lining, but any that stick out you might want to sew in and neaten off, which I probably will do for just that particular hexagon. That one's okay, that one's okay, that one's okay. So, and there we go, there is the lining of our bag, which is really nice. So all that's left to do now, my camera focuses, is to add our handles. So in my last video I'm going to show you how to crochet on the handles, and then we have a finished bag.